Yes, come on. Saturday night, 10 to 8-ish, and go through bench. I think this is the first like proper comp bench this training block, and I am 1 week precisely out from competition. Now, unfortunately, a family member ended up having to go to A&E, so they're fine, but that has meant that I've ended up training much later than planned. But that's not a problem at all, because it doesn't matter that much if you've got generally good nutrition and all of the other elements I talk about a lot, then it won't make a huge difference. So, hoping to hit 140, 150-ish. I mean, I'm hoping to hit 300, but I'm never going to bench 300 kilos, am I? Let's be honest. So we'll go 100 next, and then decide from there. 140 is a bit big of a jump from 100, so I'll see what speed that is. I've still got like tiny niggle in my elbows, but nothing crazy. It's better than it has been, as I said and as I expected. It's gradually getting better, so I expect by the time I lift next weekend it'll be gone. Today is Saturday, so today's like the last pretty heavy bench. I'm saying pretty heavy, like it's very heavy for me. It's just not that heavy for most powerlifters. And then tomorrow, big squat session. Again, hopefully looking for like an RP9. That'll probably take me about 3 weeks to recover from on squat and deadlift, but all my deadlifts are RP10 anyway. It should give me an indication of somewhere between second and third attempts. So got the velocity on for 100, always the same. I want to remove the variables where possible. So bench press, pause, 100. So today I would like this to be 0.6. So if you are paying any attention to the velocity stuff, I said the other day about 0.55 being good, but I've had some easier sessions now, so some of the fatigue should be dissipating. If it doesn't move, well, I'll just do it and then we'll see. So see what that was? That's just silly. Is that going to focus on it? 0.69. Almost as if the program is designed for a reason. It's almost like between Aaron and I, we know what works for my body. So that's a important thing with any coach-athlete relationship. It's that the athlete takes responsibility for all of the factors they can control, and the coach takes responsibility for the ones they can, and you work together to come up with the best plan moving forwards. And when you do, it works out well. So now the question is, what weight do I do after 100? We'll go 100. What would be attempts in competition? 140, 150, I don't know. 140 seems like a big jump. I'll go 130. Yeah, that seems sensible. Because if I was doing 130 for sets, I don't think I'd do anything between 100 and 130. But if I was doing 140 for sets, I would probably do something before that. As if I would be doing 140 for sets anyway. I suppose if I was doing slingshot or block press, then I'd be doing 140 for sets. So I think I'll go 130, and then depending on how that moves, I might go 142, 145, then 150. So last week I hit the 150s touch and go, but I'm generally stronger with a pause. So we'll see how this goes. Just get a little fluid, try and get it in position. Here's a new problem I've got. My hair is getting in the way when I brace. Come on. That was a lot slower than I wanted it to be. When I braced, the mic here pushed into my neck, and then it gave me a weird jolt down my arm, if I pressed on a nerve or something. I'm gonna move the mic. I'm gonna watch that back and see if it did affect anything. Whether I do that again or go up, I'm not sure. So I'll just check that. Even with it being slow, I just checked, and you can see my right arm as I come down. I think because of this, I kind of jolted a little bit. So even with that, checks the velocity, which is 0.41, which puts my max at 157.5. So even with a misgroove, I'm strong enough to go up. So I'm going to go 140 something for a nice pause. Just make sure that's okay. And I'm going to remember to take off the mic. Let's go with, we'll go 142.5, because that's a 12 kilo jump, 12.5 kilo. So then if I want to go 150 or 152, I can make that jump. 155 is my best paused bench. So I don't think, based on that one rep, I don't think I can do a PB today. But the point isn't to PB, the point is an RP9 single. So RP9 is going to be roughly 0.25, 0.24, 0.25-ish on the velocity. So I'll keep going until I get to there. Also, I'll shift this now. It's getting awkward to roll out. Remembering to do that. I'll put it on the front. Right. Come on then. This is just to convince myself to go up. Yeah. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah. So easy. That was faster than the 130. There we go. Now we're talking. Right. It was definitely just a misgroove. Stupid microphone. Trying to kill me. Awesome. 152.5, because then there's a springboard for 157 or, 160. That was great. So, lesson for future Adam is, don't put the microphone underneath your beard when you're benching, because it can cause some weird nerve compression or something and throw you off. I mean, when I'm actually competing, I don't think I'm going to be wearing a microphone. Just hear me muttering to myself on the platform. I sound like a crazy, even more like a crazy person doing that. Whew, 152.5. Right. I need to go pee and stuff, so I'm going to pause this and hands chalked up, bar is loaded, 152.5. I'm going to do that. You know what's disgusting, right? Is when you're in a gym and you see someone training and they've got chalk on their hands and they go to the toilet and they come back and they've still got chalk on their hands. Wash your hands. We don't get that here because we don't have slobs that are in here. We have normal, hygienic people. But, oh, it's gross. Powerlifting competitions as well. Wash your hands. Anyway, I digress. 152.5. Need to take this seriously. For definite. It's a fairly heavy bench. Oh, yeah. Well, that was easy. Unexpectedly easy. Now the question is, what will RP9 be? If I chip that, 155, I don't think it'll be RP9. 157 might be over 9. But 157 is a PB. 160 will be more than a 9. This is where I just go with my ego and go for a small PB of 157.5. Yeah, 157.5. I could check that. Tell you what I'll do. I will be sensible and I'll check the velocity. I don't really want to stop there. I believe I could have done 2 more reps of that. And RP9 is 1 more rep, so ipso facto, decto, lacto, whatever. Yeah, that was 0.31. What do you think? Come on. You got this. Yes, come on. Was that RP9? I don't know what happened to the music. I think it broke. I think it died. That's a PB. Fantastic. That can't be right. 0.3. That can't be the same speed as what I've just done. Because if it is, then that implies I should go up. And if I should go up, then... Oh, I got goosebumps thinking about that. No, I can't. I need to watch this. I so much want to go up and do 160 or 162.5, but in the back of my mind, there's just that thing of my niggle and my pec, because of the torn pec. I'm just like, take the PB and the win and just move on, because I've still got close grip bench to do. And I've got another week of training. Well, not a full week of training. I think I might be being sensible here. I did check. Like, I think that's close enough that I have an idea of where my max is. I think my max might be about 165, which is quite frankly ridiculous. But if it is, that means I know roughly where I can jump to. So if I, for example, was to open on like 140, then, sorry, not 140, 150, I could jump to 160 for my second or something, which would be a nice little PB. And then, because my comp PB is 155, so that would be a PB. And then that means from 160, I can either go 162 or 165. Obviously, you can't plan your attempts completely this far out, but it's more so it can give you an idea of where you're at. So, yeah, I'm going to go onto my close grip bench now. This is a thing that younger me, without so many injuries, would have just been like, yeah, stick it on, it'll be fine. And that's why older me now has the injuries. Oh. Oh. Well, that's ridiculous how hard that was. I think it was the right decision, to be honest. So yeah, one more set of close grip and then 2 sets of incline bench. And that's it for today. It will have been a very productive session. There comes a point in training. Well, no, it's not even a point in training. Just with all training, there is a purpose of the movements you're doing. There's a purpose of the workouts. There's a purpose of everything you're doing. So if you know that purpose and understand it, then you can make decisions on a more ad hoc basis. As long as it's not an emotional decision, it's a logical decision based on the information you have and based on knowing what the end goal is. So the end goal of that single is to go heavy enough to stimulate my body to handling the heavier weights, but not so heavy as to cause a lot of extra fatigue, so that come next weekend I'm more recovered, I'm ready to actually show off as much strength as possible. So that was heavy enough that it will stimulate my body. It's the most I've had in my hands, I was going to say ever, but I've slingshot benched more, but that's obviously different. It's the most I've had and actually done a bench with, so that ticks that box. And also, psychologically, it'd be nice to get a PB that I know I can do of 160. It's always nice to kind of know that that's going to happen. So yeah, I think this was the right decision. And based on how uncomfortable this is feeling, I think it was. So I'll just do one more of this and then onto the incline bench. We should be fine. And then I'm going to head to the shops. Ooh. I think I'm still 6 years old because I find that quite funny. And then I'm going to go to the shops. I want some meat that's very fatty because I've not really had much in the way of fat today. I've mostly had rice. I have had rice, chicken, vegetables, fruit, shake. Not had any Monster. Not had any caffeine. Like I said, I'm like reducing it now. Sleep is better, not surprisingly. Something I learned about is something called aerophagia, which I potentially knew that when I was working as a doctor, but I've forgotten it over the years. And essentially it's when the air is going down your esophagus instead of down your trachea. So it can make you all bloated and feel uncomfortable. So if you sleep with a sleeping machine, a CPAP or APAP, like I do because of my broken nose, so I can't breathe through it, then that can cause you problems depending on how you sleep. So the way you solve it is you end up sleeping like this rather than sleeping like this, and it seems to make it better. Can't remember what my point was with that, but anyway, I should do the next set of these. I'm hungry now, so I'll get this done so that I can crack on with the rest of my day, the rest of my evening. See, now I just feel feeble like a kitten. Right. That was fine. Bit uncomfortable, but nothing crazy. After that 157.5, I sent my coach a message and I said, if you happen to be around and you see this, what do you reckon? Go up, stay the same? I wouldn't expect an instant reply. I don't think you need that. But just with it being right on the edge, I thought, if he says if he specifically said, no, stop there, or yeah, go up, I would have done. But by the time I'd made a decision. He'd not seen the message yet, which, like I say, completely reasonable. Wouldn't expect. I mean, it's a Saturday night. We just messaged back now and said some silly things about how much he expects me to be benching. It's mad how that's actually difficult to do now. Obviously it's not super hard, but it's enough to cause a stimulus. So anyway, he said I should have gone to 160 instead of the 157, which is reasonable. And then he said I wouldn't be surprised if you're at 170 on a good day after peaking, which sounds completely insane, to be honest. So based on today, I think for attempt I'll probably go 150 as an opener, and then see, providing that moves fine, it should be just like a formality, then go 160 for a second, which will be a 5 kilo comp PB and a 2.5 kilo PB, and then see how that goes. 162, 165, 167, 170. Not a chance it'll be 170. Even with all the peaking in the world, I just can't see that. I think I've slingshot benched 170 for one, so I have had it in my hands. But that 700 total that I've been talking about, it might not be as far out of reach as I thought. So I'm going to use the calculator, because whenever I try and calculate this whilst I'm training, I always get it wrong. So if we go 165 for the bench, so 700 minus 165, that's 535. So squat, see how tomorrow goes, but let's say 265. So if we minus 265, that means it's 270 for the deadlift. I could. No, that would be cheeky. That would be cheeky, cheating. I could do the first 2 attempts conventional, and then the third, just put 270 on and pull it sumo. I think I could do that even without training. I think I'd probably hurt myself doing it, but I could do it. Or I'd just be more sensible. Always being sensible. But to be fair, being sensible is why I've managed to actually get strong again. Well, my version of strong. I am going to enter competition in Hull Strongest, in February, which I thought was too fast of a turnaround, but I've got lots of things coming up. Got various different business things going on, some personal stuff, moving house, and all sorts of other bits and pieces. And I thought, you know what? Training for a competition will make life less stressful and more fun. Actually, I like it. It gives me more purpose. It forces me to train, even though I like training. When there's work and other stuff and there's no like finite endpoint, I would be more relaxed with stuff. Not to a crazy extent. The other thing is like nutrition. It will help me to stay on top of my nutrition. In general, my appetite is bigger than my activity levels, despite being fairly active. So like even now, you can see watching these videos, I'm not like grossly overweight, like I'm not morbidly obese, but I do carry quite a lot of extra fat, and that's completely fine because I don't care too much about the appearance side of things. From a health perspective, I track all my markers, that's fine. And I know that it's a consequence of eating too much because I'm eating too much because I'm training, and I'd rather train in a slight surplus. But the good thing about this competition is they're doing it in weight classes. So let me just do this set, because then that's my session done for today. And then I can continue to talk nonsense. Reminds me what I was talking about. So this competition, they're doing it, it's going to be on a power bar again, which I like. With the lift competitions, they're really good, especially because they weigh you in, but it's not weight classes. They just do it based on dots, which is good, but because they're not based on a weight class, and I'm torn on this. I don't particularly care about being competitive with other people at the moment, because with powerlifting, it doesn't matter. You can be the best version of you on the day, and if someone just squats 100 kilos more than you, what can you do, you know? Assuming their other lifts are also better. So from that perspective, it's not that I'm not competitive and that I don't want to do well, but I aren't going to go to the effort of trying to lose weight or whatever when the ultimate end goal, the North Star, is just to be strong. I want a 300 kilo deadlift. And to be honest, with the way my training's going, it sounds insane, but a 300 kilo squat might be a cool goal. I think I'm probably going to be 100 kilos, if not heavier, to be able to do that. And I'm only 5'6", so like that's a lot of weight to put on my frame. But anyway, so this competition, not this weekend coming up, but the one after in February, it's weight classes. So the weight class choices, the ones that I've reasonably got a choice of, there's 83, 93, or 105. It's in 12 weeks after this competition. I'm sitting around 94, 95 kilos right now. So 105, there's no point in competing in that weight class. There's no point in me trying to get that heavy. Like it's not going to go well. And you can only build muscle so fast, unless you're using, well, even if you were using the special supplements, you're probably not going to build 10 kilos of muscle in 12 weeks whilst training for a powerlifting competition. And if you're not using the special supplements, there's not a chance that I'm going to be building that much muscle in that time. So if I were to go the 93 kilo class, I would want to be walking around at like 94, 95. It's the same day weigh-in, so can lose a couple of kilos overnight, basically just by having less food in my gut from the day before. So I wouldn't drop my calories or anything like that. I would change just the volume of the food, so have like literally lighter food, so there's less total weight inside of my body. So then I can make weight there. So this forces me to stay in like reasonable shape. I know I don't like a bodybuilder or anything like that, but like in okay shape. So this could be good from that perspective as well, to make sure I stay disciplined with the training and the nutrition. Because what I would tend to find I would do is when I get busier, I do the thing of not eating. So I won't eat. And then when I do eat, it'll be like, oh no, I've got to get 4,000 calories in and I've not eaten anything and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So to get through that many calories and still hit a decent amount of protein, fruit, veg, fiber, vitamins, minerals and whatnot, it's not impossible, but you're just constantly eating. You end up with uncomfortable stomach, you don't feel great, you don't sleep great. So the alternative is just eat super high calorie foods. Whilst that can be useful, I don't think that's necessarily the best thing for you. I don't think it's the best thing to just be slamming through like 3,000 calories in one meal out of poor planning, let's say. So when I know I'm training for a competition, or when I have a goal, I will break down the goal into all the pieces, all the basics, and then each one of them, like, right, which one can I do better given what else is going on in my life at the moment? So for example, a change that I might make, I've not decided, but a change that I might make is I might drop my training down to 4 days a week instead of 5, because with moving, there's potentially backwards and forwardsing, and I don't like training squats or deadlifts the same day that I'm driving because my back ends up uncomfortable. I can stretch and stuff, that's fine, but it doesn't stop the temporary discomfort of being in the car for more than an hour. Like, whereas if I don't do it on those days, then it doesn't seem to make any difference. This is not a new thing, this is not novel, this is a thing that's just always been a thing. So, if I do everything to the best of my abilities, given the life constraints, then I'll do things better. It's a very I say it's a lazy excuse, but like, it's maybe not the best reason to enter a competition, but I find it helps. And if it helps, then I kind of don't care. Like when we get someone who comes to the gym and they're like, I want to lose weight, fine, whatever. That's your goal, fantastic. I'm like, but I want to do a keto diet. Even though I don't think it's necessarily the best thing in the world, if that's the thing they want to do, you're like, right, that's your constraints, that's what you've decided, so we'll help you to do it given what you want. Obviously, we still educate people and everything else, but it's doing things for the reason that you want to do it is fine. And if that why is strong enough, then you'll do the thing. So with that said, I'm just sat here talking to myself and talking about food, and it's making me hungry. Any suggestions for what to get for food? I was thinking maybe like, I quite fancy trying some different fish. I really like salmon. I want something like oily, like I said earlier, something with lots of fat in. I did even think about getting some steak, maybe a fattier cut of steak with some salmon, and like do like some mushroom sauce or something to go. It's just me tonight. Rach, she's not at home. She's with her sister, so it's just me to feed. That's the other thing that I've got a bad habit of. When it's just me at home, like if Rach is working late or she's out or whatnot, I don't always do the best job of feeding myself, even though I know I should. So a couple of solutions we've had is getting like pre-made meals. So I found a company that does meals that are 800 or 900 calories and about 40, 50 grams of protein each. They're not too bad, to be fair. But for some reason, they've got like a supply issue at the moment. So I'm not getting them now. So that, woe is me, the meal prep company isn't working at the moment. I haven't found anywhere local that does it for a reasonable price. Like I don't mind paying for them, but if each meal's like £12 or something, then obviously that's going to add up having 4 of them a day. It gets a bit silly. So yeah, go get some food. What I might do is I might cook some rice and make like egg fried rice. So if I get some sesame oil, some eggs, some spring onions, some peas, cook all that, because then the fat from the oil, the fat from the eggs, that'll bump up the calories a bit. And then that'll do for some lunch tomorrow. And for tomorrow, I'll get some chicken thighs, so they're a bit fatter as well. That'll be good. I tend to find if I don't have enough fat, I get like dry skin. So if I have a bit more fat, it seems to make a difference. This is one of those things that, like, for me, if I don't have enough fat, my skin starts getting dry and a bit flaky. But for someone else, they might not have that as an issue. So that's one of the things that, like, I would not tell people not to have fat in their diet or to have lots of fat in their diet. But if you find that you feel better, perform better, you have other things that are better, doing things a certain way, why would you not? Unless you're causing harm to someone else or to yourself, why would you not? I think I'm procrastinating because I don't like going to the shops. It's just, yeah, we'll talk about that another day. It's very much first world problems. So tomorrow I'm going to do squats and deadlifts. I'm going to squat out. Well, I want to call this now, but then tomorrow's video will be up tomorrow. I think 260 tomorrow. That's what I would like. So 265, 165, 270. It's the 270 I can't see happening. But anyway, the one in February. So the goal for this competition is just a PB squat, bench, and conventional deadlift in competition. So competition best squat is 237.5. I'm honestly thinking of opening above 240, so that should be beat. The bench, I mean, you just saw. Come on, it's clearly going to be a PB. I'm not superstitious, but now I am, touch wood. And then the deadlift. So I need to go 247. So then the competition in February, I think what I might do is set the main goal for that to get the deadlift up. So if I can catch the deadlift up to catching the deadlift up to the squat, that sounds insane. That does just show how untrained is the better word, my conventional deadlift is. So if I spend the next like 12 weeks hammering that, then that should come up a bit. The other thing as well is, after this competition, I'll do 3-4 weeks just to real quick shift off some of this fat so that then I can spend the rest of the training block in a slight surplus, extra energy, and end up at a similar body composition as I am now. That's what I just tend to find works best for me personally. Yeah. I don't know if 700 will be on the cards for that one, but if I can maintain the squat and the bench strength, so say 265, 165, then it would be getting the deadlift up. So if I can get the deadlift, say I get 250 in this one, hopefully, that means all I need to do is get the deadlift 20 kilos up. And if I'm not prioritizing squat and bench, I can prioritize the deadlift. The squat strength should be a good indicator of the deadlift strength. So if that stays at 265-ish, then with the deadlift, it'll be making sure my grip stays good, getting my hamstrings up to par. Lots of glute work as well, I think will really help. And then, I don't know. Right, I really should stop now. Go to the shops, get some food. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.